good morning and welcome to another video in a different part of Spain. So this time I'm in Girona. I'm just here having a bit of a downtime, a bit of a recuperation, some bike riding, nothing too serious though, just going out for a few spins. I thought it'd be quite cool to actually do a video talking a little bit about the Campagnolo Super Record 13-speed wireless, because I've now been riding it for, I don't know, 500k maybe. So Campagnolo, Campag, the Italian group set manufacturer, bought this group set out earlier this year, and it is the first that I'm aware of 2x13 speed group set. Wireless group set, batteries attached to the mechs, and shifters have got a little battery inside of like a coin cell one, so that's how they are controlled. But the good thing about the 13 speed option is that what I've noticed is actually the jumps between the cogs on the back are super close, so it feels really quite nice when you jump between each cassette sprocket, going between a harder and easier gear. It feels super smooth. What Campag did after the 12-speed Super Record group set, which had a bit of controversy to it, they brought back the thumb tab. A lot of Campag traditionalists will absolutely love the thumb tab, but the 12-speed version did not include this thumb tab. It had two paddles, shall we say, similar to what you'd expect on a Shimano group set. So they brought back the thumb tab. They've also brought back these additional little buttons in the hoods, like what you have on SRAM and Shimano, which have got them set up to change between the rear mech, going up and down on the sprockets. I will stop by the side of the road at some point and kind of run through the build spec as well. But first initial thoughts, the brakes are unbelievably good. I would argue that the Campag brakes are probably the best ones of the group set brands. I think Shimano brakes are only a little bit behind, but the modulation is so lovely on them. They just feel silky to shift with, which is very nice. The shifter shape, very ergonomic. Brake lever shape, very, very nice. The button on the inner, not so ergonomic, it's just like a round dot. I think the other brands have maybe done that a bit slicker, because if you keep pressing on it and rely on it, and I use those buttons quite a lot, get a bit of a sore thumb. But the actual ergonomic shape of the lever is exceptional. It's just that button is the one bit I would gripe with. Thumb tab, I quite like it because I can actually wrap my hand, you see here, I can actually wrap my hand underneath it and shift with it. So compared to the Eccar GT group set, where you continually feel like you're having to move your hand back, with this, my hand can wrap round and press the button still. So maybe that's a bonus of big hands. Maybe it would be a bit harder if you had smaller hands, but it seems to work well for me. Aesthetically, I think it's pretty beautiful actually. It is an expensive group set, but it feels premium and top end, which makes it quite nice. And one of the bits I've really liked, it does become a conversation starter. Just climbing up El Zangel's the reverse way from what most people would do it. I would argue the steeper side. Right, I'm at the top of the El Zangel's climb. Tell by the tower with loads of birds around it, which I don't think you can see anyway. I'm just going to run through, a bit sweaty, a bit about the spec of the Campag build now. So this is it, Argon 18 Sun Pro, so the newer colourway, which I think you can kind of pick up is basically like a raw carbon that fades into this sort of lovely dark silver with a few little red accents on it. Enve 3.4 wheels, lovely matching silver and red decals on there. And then the crankset, here you go, it shows you it quite nicely. So Super Record 1 carbon crank, metal chain rings, 50-34 on this. They offer a really wide range of different chain rings, but for where I live, I want something that can tackle some of the steep climbs. So it's 50-34, it's a carbon, I guess, crank with titanium spindle in there. That's the front mech, as you can see. So the battery is this portion here, and this is all carbon fiber. It's very beautiful. The rear, I'm running I think it's a 10 or 11 to 36, so quite a big cassette, but it's got this lovely sort of dark metal colour to it, like the chain does. And that's the rear mech, which is a bit of a chunky boy, but it's still beautiful carbon fibre, and the battery sits like under here. There's a really beautiful bit of kit. Brake calipers is there, and the rotors are these lovely sort of, I don't know, round rotors, which are quite spectacular. Then the shifter lever, as you can see, is pretty ergonomic, and you just have one button here. That is because you then have the thumb tab, which is here. I can actually ride like this and press the button quite easily, but some people can't. Same on both sides, so this one does the front mech. Although I would prefer it the other way around, because if I press this one, that goes into the small ring, and I press that to go into the big ring. But I feel like it should be the opposite way around personally, which I might change in their app. And you have these little buttons here, you can see, so they are shifting the rear mech as well. And the rest of the build is basically Enve aero bars and Enve stem, but I'm actually changing this over to a one-piece bar and stem, which I've very luckily got sitting at home. There's a Wolftooth headset there, lovely, super slim. I've used this Argon 18, part of their 3D Plus system, to just space up the front end a bit, reduce the spaces under the stem, which keeps it super stiff as well at the front, but it's quite an aggressive frame, so I've had to raise the front end up a bit. Enve 3.4, as I said, with Schwalbe Pro 1 aero tyres. They're slightly different front and rear, both measuring 28. Enve bottle cages on there, Styrkr in the bottles, Garmin pedals, Gebbia in my saddle on there. The seat post is the standard one that comes with Argon 18 Sum, and Sum Pro. So this is the inline version. You can get a setback version as well, but that's the inline one. So yeah, I think it is pretty spectacular actually. And all in all, as I say, I am a fan. It's nice because it's just a little bit different from everything else you see. You don't see Campag that often nowadays, which is, I think it's a shame, but it is actually a very lovely bit of kit. I think the thing is, all group sets now at the top end are great. The problem with Campag is the price point of it. It is a premium price point, but it is and also I do stress about, like, could I get spares for it if something went wrong? So I don't think I'd ever use it for like an ultra or anything like that, but for like a nice summer bike, shall we say, it feels like a fantastic group set to have on the bike. So yeah, let me know what you think of it. I think it is very pretty, and I think it's going to take a bit of getting used to still. It's just the shifting is different to what I'm used to, so that's taken a bit of time to get used to, but all in all, generally very impressed. One more thing to add. First of all, I was provided this group set by Chicken, which is the UK distributor for Campag, and thank you for them. They've sent me a few bits and bobs in the past as well. So, and they did say I could say what I want. So I am. I had never used the 12-speed version. This is actually the first time I've ever used an electronic Campag group set, and from what I heard from a lot of people, the 12-speed version wasn't great. So I feel like they've made very good advances on that 12-speed version now to a 13-speed version. And as I say, it is different. It does take a bit of brain power to understand the shifting's different, but it does work very nicely actually. And I do think it's probably the best looking group set. My gripe with it is the price of it. It isn't cheap, and I think you probably be able to get some of the other top end group sets online at shops discounted, but if you're looking for something that's a bit different, great option. so it's a couple of days later. Done a few more kilometers on the bike. Thought I'd touch back on something. So I think I mentioned last time how I was getting a bit, you know, remembering which bit to shift, so which was to go easier and which was to go harder. So the original setup is basically that this tab on your front mech makes go into the big ring, and this one goes into the small ring. Now that's fine, but when you bear in mind on this side, this then goes into the big ring, and this makes it an easier gear. So I just kept getting confused because I'm dumb. So I've now set it up so that goes into the small ring, and that one goes into the big. Now the reason why I've done that is just it means that in my brain, outside paddle makes it easier, inside paddle makes it harder on the front and the rear mech. Really easy to do actually. I'll give Campag some credit. Their app is very good, very intuitive, very simple. You open it up, it's called My Campy. You literally open it up, you can change stuff while you're riding, and then it just, when you close it, it's already done. It tells you it's updated. So it's playing around with that and playing around with like their version, I guess, of what is like Shimano's synchro shift, so automatically shifting. Now I don't traditionally like that on any bike apart from my time trial bike, and played around with it for a bit on this, and then I was like, okay, cool, great, you could do that. Took it off again because I like to be able to play around the shifting myself effectively. But a few more kilometers down the bike, still I think the Groupset is probably one of the best looking Groupsets out there at the moment. Shifting is good, it's got a defined clunk to it, but it definitely shifts nicely and crisply. The battery life seems pretty good. The rear mech battery definitely runs out faster than the front mech, but I guess that's just from doing more shifts. Unfortunately, it's not the same battery between the front and the rear mech, and that is caused by, I believe, SRAM having a patent on that. So that's why the front and rear mech batteries are slightly different. But having said that, they're really easy to charge. They've got their own charger cables, and it's just like a magnetic charge, USB, done. Battery on the shifters, surprisingly the one of mine is actually running out quicker than the other one, and I feel like I'm going to need to change them at some point relatively soon because they seem to be running out relatively quickly, but I believe it's pretty easy and straightforward to do, so fine, not a problem. The ergonomics, as I've said before, fantastic. The braking, incredible, probably the best of any of the Groupsets out there. Cool factor, I'll give it a solid, 9 out of 10. I think it is really cool. I think it looks fantastic. I think if you, maybe an 8 out of 10 actually. I think if you then got the Ultra upgrade, which is an hyper premium upgrade of chainrings and cassette, that would make it 10 out of 10, but it's so much money to do that. I think, I don't know for sure what the retail price is, but it's effectively carbon chainrings and a super lightweight cassette that you can add to the Groupset. They do make a power meter. It's I think it's made in collaboration with SRM, and it looks really cool. I'm not using it, so I can't really say anything about it. I'm using Garmin pedals, but it does look great. Things to bear in mind with Campag: you have to use Campag's free hub, very specific. You have to use their chain, very specific. You have to use their bottom bracket, very specific. There are companies that do make Campagnolo bottom brackets, and there are wheel brands that make free hubs which you could change over to Campagnolo. So I'm running Enve 3.4s with the Enve hub, and Enve do make a free hub that you can swap over onto it. Chris King, for example, officially don't make a free hub, but the man himself, Chris King, rides Campag, so they do make it, they just don't sell it effectively. But things to bear in mind: you will need to use a wheel set that has a Campagnolo free hub. You will have to use their specific bottom bracket. I think Kogel maybe make a Campag bottom bracket, and there might be a few other brands, I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, they're just the things to bear in mind. So yeah, I do think it's really cool. I do think they're also the best looking rotors on the market. Look at them, they look fantastic. So that's a few more thoughts on Campag. I'm just done an effort up the El Zangas climb from Girona. Only got like an hour or so of time to ride today because I'm on holiday and I'm trying to, relax, recuperate, and just have a bit of downtime really. But I thought I would do, take this bike out here, ride it a bit more, and give you more of an experience of it from my side. So yeah, hopefully this is useful. I'm very sweaty, but how nice is this green Nicole's just brought out these new Arc bibs in this lovely colour. Super nice.